I was standing in a kitchen that wasn't mine. The man I was seeing was 70 years old. We had been dating for 4 months, 4 quiet months. But that evening, something felt different. The stove was cold, not warm, not recently used. Just cold, and the table absolutely empty. No plates, no food, no smell of dinner in the air, just silence. He sat in his chair, watching television. The light from the screen flickered across his face. Blue, then white, then blue again. He didn't say anything, not at first. Then slowly, he turned his head toward me, and he smiled. Not a warm smile, a condescending one. The kind of smile that assumes you already know what you're supposed to do. I thought you would work your magic. As if the empty kitchen, the cold stove, the silent room were simply waiting for me. The same smile I had seen many times before. The same smile the system rewards the obedient with. It was in that moment, looking at the cold metal of those burners, that I finally understood. My name is Vivian Crawford. I am 79 years old, and I am here to expose the greatest scam my generation ever participated in. They never told you the truth. Official history sells you romance, vows, and beautiful gold rings. But let's look at the dry numbers. The real archives, 38 years. That is how long I was married to my husband Herman. 38 years of keeping his ledger, not a financial one, a life ledger. I managed his doctors. I prepared every meal. Every Sunday evening, I sorted his blood pressure pills into little plastic trays. I knew every diagnosis, every ache, every rhythm of his body. And then one day, with a pen in my hand, I stopped. I tried to remember. When was the last time I went to the dentist? In the official records of my own memory, there was only a dash, a blank space. I was the system administrator of someone else's life, while my own was being slowly erased from the database. And do you know the genius of it? Herman never asked me to do it. He never ordered me. Vivian, handle this. The mechanism of erasure worked on autopilot. I did it because my mother did it, because his mother did it, because that is how they programmed every woman I ever knew. You sign a contract without knowing. You become the manager, the nurse, the logistics officer, and the cook. But no one calls it labor. They give it the perfect camouflage. They call it love. Herman was a good man, a mailman for 33 years. He provided stability, but stability does not mean equality. I carried an invisible weight he didn't even know existed. I was the infrastructure of his entire existence. In 2006, Herman was gone. The database was reset. I mourned him, truly. But underneath the grief, at the very bottom, I found something I wasn't prepared for. I took a breath, a deep, clean breath, as if a concrete slab had been lifted off my chest. After 38 years, I felt ashamed of that oxygen because the system teaches us that a widow's freedom is a betrayal. But something strange happened after that breath. For the first time in decades, the house was quiet. Not empty, quiet. No pill trays on the counter. No appointment calendars taped to the refrigerator. No lists of things that had to be done for someone else. I walked into the bathroom one morning, looked at my reflection, and realized something disturbing. I did not recognize the administrator of my own life. The woman in the mirror had been running a system that never included her. So I opened my notebook, the same notebook I had been writing in for 38 years. Except this time, I started a new ledger. Not his blood pressure, not his appointments, not his prescriptions. Mine, my body, my time, my decisions. And that is when the real investigation began. Because when you start auditing your own life, you discover something terrifying. The scam was never just marriage. The scam was the silence. Silence in the kitchen. Silence in the doctor's waiting rooms. Silence in every Sunday afternoon where a woman quietly keeps the world running while nobody records her name in the system log. You see, history books are written about wars, presidents, industries, revolutions, but no one archives the invisible labor that held entire generations together. No historian ever came to my kitchen. No researcher ever asked, how many hours did you spend managing another human being's life? But I know the numbers because I kept the records. 38 years. That is 13,870 days. 13,870 mornings where someone else's needs came first. 13,870 evenings where the last thought before sleep was not, what do I want tomorrow? It was, what does he need tomorrow? Now, please understand something. This is not a story about villains. Herman was not the villain. He was a product, a very well-behaved product of a very efficient system, a system where boys were trained to build roads, fix machines, carry mail across cities, and girls were trained to carry everyone else. My mother did it. Her mother did it. Every woman on our street did it. We never discussed it. We simply inherited the operating system. You wake up one morning at 22 in a white dress holding flowers, and you think you are entering a love story. And maybe you are. But what nobody tells you is that you are also accepting a job description: manager of meals, coordinator of health, archivist of family birthdays, chief emotional engineer. You become the memory for an entire household. And the strange part is, you become very good at it. You become so efficient, so reliable, so invisible, that eventually even you forget to ask the question, where in this system am I stored? What file contains my life? That question arrived very late for me, 79 years late. I was sitting at the kitchen table with the same pen I had used for decades, sorting through old notebooks, and suddenly I realized something chilling.
There were thousands of pages in those journals. Thousands. Doctor visits, blood pressure numbers, medication changes, insurance forms, notes about Herman's sleep, Herman's diet, Herman's aches. But when I searched for myself, there was almost nothing. No record of my own appointments, no record of my own fears, no record of my own dreams, just blank space. Imagine running a database for 4 decades and discovering your own file was never created. That is when the truth arrived, quietly, not as anger, not as blame, but as clarity. I had participated in the system, willingly, lovingly, automatically, and the most sophisticated part of the mechanism was that it felt noble. Because when labor is called sacrifice, and sacrifice is called love, you stop measuring the cost. You stop asking for compensation. You stop asking who benefits from the arrangement. After Herman passed, the house changed, not dramatically, quietly. The kettle still boiled, the mail still arrived. The sunlight still fell across the kitchen table every morning at 9:30. But the system was gone, and with the system gone, a strange thing happened. I began to appear, at first only in small ways. A dentist appointment, a long walk, an afternoon where nothing had to be organized for anyone else. And every time I did something purely for myself, I felt something unexpected, guilt, because the system trains you very carefully. It teaches you that your value comes from being useful to others. Remove the usefulness, and suddenly you wonder if you still deserve space in the room. That was the moment I understood something important. The greatest scam my generation participated in was not marriage itself. It was the quiet agreement that women would become the infrastructure of life without ever being recognized as its architects. And once you see that structure, you cannot unsee it. You start noticing it everywhere, in hospitals, in schools, in family gatherings, in the quiet kitchens, where the real logistics of civilization are still being managed by someone whose name will never appear in the official record. And that is why I started speaking, not because I hate the past, but because I finally understand it.
And that is why I am speaking to you. To those of you who, right now, are quietly holding someone else's world on your shoulders, do not wait until you are 79 to look into the archive, only to discover emptiness. The system will not change on its own. It will keep using you for exactly as long as you allow it. But you are not just the infrastructure. You are the architect. Open a blank page. And for the first time in a long time, make yourself the main project of your own life. Write your name.